We now join the video already in progress. Now, the paper I wrote was more focused on the torture methods than anything else, so from here on out it'll just be me talking about the torture methods and all of that stuff, but I'll do supplementary videos talking more about the Spanish Inquisition when I get more information. So let's get on with it. So the torture methods were mainly just trying to make the people feel as much pain as they could without killing them, because if you kill someone they can't convert, and if they can't convert, this whole thing's for naught. So I already mentioned the strappado, where it was just they would hang people up into the air, drop them, and just rip the arms out of their sockets. They would just keep doing it over and over and over again. And many of them probably succumbed to it and converted. Yeah. And all these torture methods were really just a means of conversion. They were really horrendous, and I mean, some of them get really fucking graphic. So, weak stomachs, don't come calling, and don't fucking complain. And this is the strappado is a pretty brutal one, but they get more brutal. Okay. So something similar to waterboarding existed in the Spanish Inquisition, but it had some modifications. Choca, or as it is known more recently as Spanish water torture, was to lay a cloth over the mouth of a condemned and spill water through the cloth. And was used recently. It was supposed to give the impression of drowning without actually drowning the person. And this was mainly a psychological torture, where it wasn't as much as it wasn't so stressful on the body, it was just stressful on the brain. And usually with torture, they get the results, but it's not usually for the right reasons. That's why the world stage frowns on torture. Also, let's go into another torture device, which was the rack, which is a very famous one, where they would just strap you to a table or wheel and just stretch you the fuck out. Same sort of idea as the strappado to dislocate your shoulders, but this one was more gruesome because it was slowly cranked, and it did a lot more damage because, I mean, first things would like be your wrist to pop out, then your elbow, then your shoulder, but with the strappado it was just your shoulders more likely they were gonna fail. There's an extrapolation of this that was called the intestinal trank, which they would cut down your stomach, put a hook in your stomach, and then slowly rip your intestines out. If it didn't kill you, that would probably that would make you convert. As I stated before, the Spanish tickler, I already mentioned, was one where it was just meant to tear at the flesh. The tortured person was just made to be defenseless. It was usually performed in a public square, and it was just usually to make a point. It had many other names, called the cat's paw. Because it caused damage like a great big paw. That's why it was called that, because it would just cause massive damage like a gigantic, like big cat paw. The first off, they would use the big cat's paw just to tear down the back, work their way to the neck, arms. This is pretty fucked up, because I mean that's gonna make you succumb to like exposure, infection. I mean that's pretty fucking heinous. The spider, which was also known as the Spanish spider, it was used only on women, and it was used to rip a woman's breast off. I mean, This is reserved for only the serious of cases. It was even rarely used, even on those cases, just because of the brutality of that. I mean, because of the brutality, it usually meant the person would die that was receiving it. It was most likely used as an intimidation thing to be like, I'm pretty sure they did kill some people with the Spanish spider, but I think it was more of an intimidation. It's like, if you don't fucking convert, I'm gonna rip your damn breast off. One of the tortures that withstood the test of time, even after the Inquisition, was the garrote. It was really more of an execution device than a torture device because it would slowly close your windpipe. Yeah, it really was just to prolong that agony. It was just strangling them. But usually the confessed heretics were burned at the stake, since it took longer and was more frightening to see and smell in some cases. The garrote was used up until 1975 in Spain. It was discontinued by the government. The last victim of the garrote was a student who was found to be not guilty of any charges. Woo! That's just really fucked up since they used it in the Inquisition and it continued up into the modern era of the world. And that's it for part 2. Part 3 to come soon. So peace, love, harmony, and ripping your breast off? That's fucked up. Let's go with that.